Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone where which you are connecting with us live again this beautiful morning. In continuation of our project management series, today we'll be treating on project management process group. Project management process group that we want to lay foundation down the processes to achieving um, project deliverable is intertwined together in project management process group. And very quickly, I'll be running through the management group. And number one is known as the initiating process. The initiating process. And this means that for every project, there is the initiation stage where the project has to be initiated by the project client and also the project manager. So the project owner, simply put, the client seek the services of a project manager and they sit down together to initiate the project. The second process group is also known as the planning process. As such, a project manager sits with the client and they plan the project properly. The third process group is the executing process. The executing process, this is where the project has to be executed from start to finish. And also the controlling process. The project has to be controlled by the project manager, bearing in mind the expected result or goals of the project owner. And lastly, on the project management process group is the closing process. This means that for every project, there is a time frame. And once the project hits the time frame, automatically the project has to be closed and delivered to the project owner. So don't forget that the project management process group has 5 stages. The first one is the initiating process, the initiating process. The second one is the planning process. The third is the executing process. The fourth is the controlling process. And the fifth is the closing process. Amidst these 5 process group, the controlling process is one process that a project manager must pay proper attention to. That means from the beginning, that from the initiating process, the project manager controls the process. It controls from the initiating process, controls down to the planning process where the client and the project manager and every other prospective stakeholders will sit down on the table and then they begin to plan the project properly. Also, in the process of executing, the project manager also controls that process. And then we now have the closing process. So don't forget that we have 5 project management process group. The first is the initiating process. The second is the planning process. The third is the executing process. The fourth is the controlling process. And then the fifth is the closing process. This is the benefit that we present to you on your project. As such, that if you consult us at Olinovic Solutions, we ensure that from the onset at which the project is being initiated, we sit down with you on the decks and then we plan the project together. We execute the project, we control the project, and also we close the project. And very quickly, I want to run through the project management knowledge area. The project management knowledge area, as such that a project manager must be knowledgeable in managing the project. You don't forget quickly that when we define project management, we define project management as what? As the application of knowledge. The application of knowledge, application of skills, application of tools, and application of techniques. Those 4 distinct values were the attributes that are embedded in project management. And so when we say the application of knowledge, what exactly is the project management knowledge area that a project manager must present before the table as the services he offers. Number one, the project manager must be knowledgeable to understanding the scope of the project. Must be knowledgeable to understanding the scope of the project. This is to say, this is what we want to achieve, and that's the scope of the project. So the client sit down and say, okay, fine, Victor, this is what I envisage, probably in the building industry, this is what I envisage. I want to build a 4-bedroom duplex, and this is how I want it to be positioned. The project manager must be knowledgeable in designing the scope of the project. Number two, the schedule of the project. The project manager must understand that this 4-bedroom, if all things being equal, for example, we have all the finance, all the funds for the project, we have them already on ground. The project manager must be knowledgeable to understanding how best to design the schedule at which the project will be executed. For example, once we have funds at hand, having considered all possible risk factors, the project manager will now say, okay, fine, if this is the case, this project will take us 4 months to execution. Having beat them down bit by bit. You won't forget yesterday that we treated the tools and techniques, and we talked about the likes of WBS, that's the work breakdown structure. These are tools that are used to create the schedules. The third is the cost. The project manager must be knowledgeable about the cost of the project, so that we are building a 4-bedroom bungalow considering the current price of materials. The project manager must be able to give the client an insight of the total amount to be spent on the project. Or for example, it will cost us 25 million, it will cost us 30 million, it will cost us 35 million, depending on the prices of the current prices of the building materials as at that very point in time. The fourth, the quality of the project. The project manager must be knowledgeable about the quality of the project and present it before the client. Number five, the resources. The project manager must understand the resources, the human resources needed to carry out the project, the financial resources to carry out the project, and every other resources needed to carry out the project. The next is the project manager must be knowledgeable in communication. We treated this the other day, that the project manager must be proficient in communication, especially verbally, must have the ability to communicate the goal, the scope of the project to the project team members, must be knowledgeable in communication. The next, the project manager must be knowledgeable in risks, very important. What are the risks expected to face in this project? What are the known risks? What are the unknown risks to be highlighted on the project? The next is the procurement. The project manager must, as a matter of fact, know where to source for the right materials, such that you attract the right vendors to procure the materials needed to execute the project as supposed. The next is the stakeholder management. The project manager must be knowledgeable in managing the stakeholder needed to execute the project. And the other day we highlighted the stakeholders as the client, we highlighted the stakeholders as the engineer, we highlighted the stakeholders as the vendors, we highlighted the stakeholders as the workers working on the site, we highlighted the stakeholders as the project manager. The project manager must be knowledgeable in ensuring that stakeholder management is put into consideration. Thank you so very much for joining us on today's edition on our series on project management. Please, if you have not subscribed to our channel, kindly click the subscribe button and also notification to ensure that each time we draw beautiful pieces such as this, we ensure that you are also carried along with what we have to offer. And please kindly do well to contact us on 0706 315 1558, 070 1558. And trust me, we get you covered. Thank you, and God bless you.